welcome you back to the Two Guys Named Chris show. Today is, in addition to being a lineup change, Chris Kelly along with Chris Demm and BB Shea in here. Biggie's having his heart put back into rhythm. Jumpstart his heart today.
Big medical jumper cables, essentially.
Yeah, and I know he's nervous, so we're thinking of him, of course. I believe the procedure's supposed to start in about an hour.
Okay.
And I told him maybe he could be here for garbage time. I don't know.
I think he appreciated that.
Yeah, I said, oh, so you'll be here. Okay, yeah.
I mean, come in your gown. We don't care.
Exactly.
I'm not sure, BB Shea, you were here in the room yesterday late in the program, but we thought, does Biggie have to shave for this?
Yeah.
Because he's a hairy man.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I don't think so, though, because...
You don't think they need to clean contact with your skin?
Well, but when they, have to do an emergency shock to the heart, they never obviously don't have time to shave. I mean, maybe,
but they don't have time in the street.
They don't. Now, we took a CPR class. It's been 2 years. BB Shea, you weren't in that. No. I took it.
Take the next one.
Take the next one.
I think it was only for the people who they didn't expect to have CPR done to them, and I wasn't on that list.
Oh, that's true. There was two groups of people. In the building.
Chris Demm remembers this. 20 years ago, a voicemail. Back then, we were communicating by voicemail through our office phones, and a voicemail went out to everyone. But the voicemail was anyone other than Chris Kelly and XYZ and blah, 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 and Biggie and so-and-so, you may hang up now. For the others, for the 8 of you I just mentioned, a client specializing in weight loss is interested in having you all do a diet. It's only for the morbidly obese. All right, everyone else can click back on. Click back on. And it was like, of course, everybody in the whole company listened to it. It's like, because if you hear, okay, you can hang up now, but the other 8 of you, all you fatties, hang on.
Then you're going to stick around for that.
Everybody sticks around for that. Exactly. So anyhow, yes.
So because you had a vasectomy, Kelly, years ago. I mean, that's a shave event.
They shaved it. Yep, they did.
They do it for you?
Yeah. Now
was it very rudimentary, very quick?
It was. It was a quick shave. In fact, they tell you we're going to do a quick shave on the testicles. And,
This is before you groomed yourself.
It was before I groomed myself. That's right. I'm grooming myself now, but they didn't shave the top part. They just shaved the testicles. And then, I do remember that now. And, actually, that gave a little razor burn, when it was all done. It's like, oh, okay. That was the first time I had felt that. I had not done that before.
I'm sure it's a strange sensation.
It is. When we took the CPR class, they said you don't need to be shaved, but it might be. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's a little better.
I mean, this is not the defibrillator.
No, of course,
that's an emergency thing,
right?
This is
I'm going to bet they don't.
The Cardi B.
The guy who did the CPR class says chest hair makes no difference. It doesn't interfere with this. But then again, this is, like you said, it's not an emergency procedure. Randy, you're talking about the procedure Biggie's having. Go ahead.
Hey, P1 Randy here. And as usual, Kelly, you are 180 degrees off. They will shave him. The pads they use for the procedure in the hospital, I've had it twice, are about 5 inches square.
Mm-hmm.
And they will shave. Well, they put one on your back and one on your chest.
They're going to shave his back for him too.
Yeah.
He'll get a double
Front
shave
back.
there. Yeah.
The left half of his back and the left half of his chest will be pretty well shaved.
He will be shaved. All right.
Can we ask you, why did you have to have it twice?
I had A-fib, not a flutter.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I got severely dehydrated with some illness, and it went in. And the second time, I've recently moved to Oklahoma. I called you guys a couple of times from out there. But during my move, I was moving myself in August, and I got dehydrated again and got into A-fib again.
Oh my! Thank goodness you're okay now.
Are you okay now?
Doing well now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Eliquis, taking the blood thinner and all that good stuff, and my little Apple Watch, like Biggie's, I know I check every day to make sure I'm not in A-fib, and it tells me if I'm going into A-fib, but I haven't. I've had those 2 instances, and they were 16 months apart.
I've argued against the Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's saving lives as we speak. Listeners, coworkers. What can Biggie expect to feel after, for like the next 24, 48 hours after the first procedure?
when I did it, my wife was barely seated, and I remember they said, okay, we're gonna give you the propofol, and I looked at the clock, and in a minute and a half later, I was awake, and they said you're in A-fib. I mean, you're out of A-fib. You're in sinus rhythm.
In only 90 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, they shocked me one time, and they said call your wife and tell her to bring the car around.
Whoa.
And by the time she got the car from the back of Moses Cone to the front, I was standing at the front door waiting on her.
Unbelievable.
Were you sore the following day?
The next day, I was sore, but wasn't. It wasn't like, oh my God, like I had been hit by a car. It was like, man, I lifted too many weights yesterday.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense then.
Great phone call, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner.
Thank you, Randy. I'm overlooking the fact that you had some snark at the beginning of it. I'm overlooking it. As usual, you're 180 degrees wrong. All right, fair enough.
But he backed it up.
He did. He had the facts. I was ready to jump on that, but he had the facts.
Then I noticed when he said that it took him 90 seconds. Did you pencil Biggie in for match game later?
I did.
Later today.
I mean, 90 seconds? He could be here for Put Up or Shut Up, for God's sake.
It takes longer to floss.
I mean, he's right down the street. Yeah, really. It's like having your teeth cleaned. It's really 90 seconds. That's nothing. I was on, full disclosure, I was on Reddit last night, and I was going to look up his procedure to see what kind of things.
On Reddit,
what people said about it. But I got.
What'd you learn? Or did you get sucked down a rabbit hole?
Never got there. Got sucked down a rabbit. The very first thing that popped up on Reddit, and this was perfect for Flaccid Friday, which today is. They had people commenting on what part of your body is never licked.
You decided to click that.
I clicked on it. I never got to Biggie's. That's why I was 180 degrees wrong on whether or not they shave you. I didn't do any research because it said, everyone, tell us the part of your body that is never licked.
Well, there's
a lot.
There's a kinky world out there.
Well, it is, yeah. Back of the knee was the number one most answered. I was watching it, and everybody's like, "Yeah, back of my knee never gets licked," and the tricep area is never licked. Most other things were licked.
I can see that. But I mean, you can turn anything into an erogenous zone.
You could
if you play it right.
One guy said ankle, but then a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, I like having my ankle."
Yeah, there's always the feet people.
I'm not into it.
What do they call the people who chew on toes? Shrimpers.
Shrimpers.
Man, I went into
that's like 90s lingo.
Don't go to Red Lobster and order it. Can I get some shrimpers and a Diet Coke? What? They kick you right out of
All
there.
right, take your shoes off. Huh?
One guy said inside my nostril. Never licked. No kidding. Is that the least licked body part, the inside of your nostril? So I never got.
So you went down that hole.
I went down the rabbit hole, and I never got around to Biggie's symptoms or if they would shave him or anything like that.
Okay.
Try Reddit. You ever go on Reddit?
I never do.
I never do.
I find it to be a lot of fun. Something will pop.
Is it a landing page?
I don't really know what it is.
I don't know how to operate it.
I don't either.
It's too complicated. I've been on there before. I don't know where to start.
It's like it's so much. I only go on there. See, I have a couple of spots marked. Like you can. So I mark my own gym, which everybody comments on things going on in the gym. So it's that forum. Great sex stories. I do that.
Yeah.
I like a titillation Tuesday. This one was in the sex part, but it was the part of your body that's never licked. So I thought that's Flaccid Friday. That's not,
sure.
That's not titillation Tuesday. And then how to expand your stock market savings.
Those are your three.
Those are my three
subreddits.
Those
is that
are my
what they're
three
called?
subreddits. Those are my three subreddits.
I don't even know the lingo.
Yeah. And then, but when you go to it, when you just open it, sometimes I get sucked into this. A picture will pop up and it'll say, "Find the rattlesnake," and so I'm staring at. It's like somebody's yard and there's a rattlesnake in it, and you got to zoom in and try to find. Those things are hidden well. I'll tell you that. They really camouflage. Or find the copperhead, and there you are staring at it.
Do you ever not find it?
Yes, there are days I'm like, I don't know where the thing is. And if you do find it, usually you have to really zoom in on it. And sometimes I give up. It's like a puzzle in and of itself, So I'm always the wrong direction on social media. I do Reddit where everybody else goes, TikTok, which may be going.
Well, Reddit's it's incredibly popular.
Oh, yeah, it is popular. I am on there quite a bit. Here's a couple of sports notes. First of all, Bill Belichick's girlfriend says, don't believe these rumors about him going back to the NFL. He is overly committed to UNC Chapel Hill. Don't worry if you're a Tar Heel fan. He will be there to coach.
I don't think any Tar Heel fans took that seriously. Do you?
No, not really. But, he has, when he had the Jets job 25 years ago.
Oh, you're right.
He didn't really have
He resigned 24 hours later.
Yeah. But and then I actually was watching ESPN do a report on this, and they said, well, if he's so committed to UNC, how come North Carolina is not one of the top 5 transfer portal destinations? Because that was the whole big deal. I looked at the rankings. UNC is 57th. They've gotten of all the colleges
since the announcement.
Since the announcements in the portal this year, they're ranked 57th at getting the best athletes.
Well, I don't really think in college football now that the head coach matters as far as transferring, even if he is as successful as Bill Belichick. I think the kids want to go places where they can make money.
So it has to be money from UNC. But if Carolina gave him the money and he has it, all things being equal, wouldn't you rather play for Bill Belichick than the guy at Arkansas? If the money was equal, you're right.
It just depends on the NIL deal. So wherever they can go and try to get an NIL deal.
I was watching a basketball game last night. Flipped it on when I got home, and somebody was playing it was Michigan against Minnesota. It was in overtime, so I started watching it. And by the way, half-court shot to win it for Minnesota.
Wow.
At the buzzer in overtime. Anyhow, they were saying so-and-so is the point guard here. He's at the line. 2 years ago, he was at UT Chattanooga. Last year, of course, he was at Arkansas. This year, he's at Michigan. It's like, my God. I mean, he's just boom, boom, and boom. They move so much now. It's hard to keep it straight. But anyway, Belichick's girlfriend, and remember, she goes to UNC.
She on the dance squad? I can't remember.
Says, don't worry. He is fully committed. Let's talk about Bob Uecker. We mentioned him earlier. I was such a fan. Everybody is a fan of Bob Uecker. And I said to BB Shea, we are going to go way, way overboard on this. This is how much we like the man. He was so self-deprecating and so great. And we mentioned earlier, it started with appearances on Johnny Carson when Chris Demm and I used to see him. This is one where he said
he came out of the blue. It's hard. You can't even imagine the world before him because he was just an anonymous bad ball player.
Yeah, 5-6 years in baseball, not a good player. Admittedly, he made that his whole personality.
Part of his, yeah.
And so one time they were showing these pictures of Bob Uecker, and Carson would say, "What's going on here?" Well, this was Bob Uecker, an action shot of him getting hit in the groin by a baseball. So Carson said, "Well, what's happening here?"
You were catcher.
Yes, I was. Chaser.
Chaser. Now, that is you down here?
Yes, that's me. That's my hidden ball trick.
What happened in that particular?
Well, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, he had his bell rung.
Yes. It's chimed for quite a while. Yes. All right.
I mean, he would go on there, and it was just like
and he never cracked. He was just deadpan.
Deadpan.
I mean, a stand-up comic would be envious of his timing.
It was unbelievable the way he would do that. At one point on Carson accidentally introduced him by saying he was the broadcaster for the Braves, but he was actually the broadcaster for the Brewers. They had typed his card incorrectly, and Carson apologized. And Uecker said, "Oh, it's no problem."
Well, you've been with a lot of teams in your life, haven't you? Yeah. Can you remember? Give me as fast as you can all the teams you've ever played with.
Braves, Cardinals, Phillies, and the Braves again. Then in June, I was with.
It's pretty brilliant the way he would do that. Then, as part of it, now he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Bob Uecker. And when he got in there,
not for his play.
Not for his play. He was inducted for broadcasting
and ambassador of the game, I'm sure.
There has never been a better ambassador for any sport than Bob Uecker. He loved baseball. He was not a good player in the
Johnny
majors.
Called him Mr. Baseball.
That's who gave
He's
him
the
the
first
nickname.
person who called him that, Johnny Carson.
Mr. Baseball. So in the Hall of Fame speech, he was talking about when he played for the Phillies, the manager was Gene Mauch. And he said, here's the kind of things that were a little discouraging when Gene Mauch would do it to him.
I remember Gene Mauch doing things to me at Philadelphia. I'd be sitting there and he'd say, grab a bat and stop this rally. Send me up there without a bat and tell me to try for a walk. Look down at the third base coach for a sign and have him turn his back on you.
So all these Major League Baseball players are just dying laughing out there in the crowd. I have not seen the whole thing, but I've heard that his Hall of Fame induction speech is the funniest thing that, of all time that has ever been done at a Hall of Fame induction speech. Then he got into commercials. He did the Bob Uecker, the Miller Lite commercials.
One of the best ever.
Well, he was in the Taste Great, Less Filling, like the debate. But the one he's most known for was when he'd go to the baseball stadium and think he was in the wrong seat.
He thought he was getting upgraded.
They'd come around and say, "Hey, you're in the wrong seat.
You're in the
wrong seat. Must be in the front row."
One of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down in front. I love them. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
Of course, now he's sitting
three
in
rows from the back.
worst seat in the house. Must be in the front row. People would say that forever.
That became part of the culture.
Absolutely. Unbelievable. Has anybody ever done more with less than Bob Uecker, who played just not very well, but made himself a household name?
Then he became a TV star.
I know.
And a movie personality.
And the TV show was Mr. Belvedere.
I could not get into that, I'll be honest.
Never watched it. A couple of episodes, maybe. You ever seen Mr. Belvedere?
Never did, no.
No, me neither. I just never was my thing. But from what I hear, he played it well. But then when he got into doing the movie Major League, and he ad-libbed a lot of these lines when he was the broadcaster for the Cleveland Indians, the radio broadcaster.
Top of the sixth, and rookie sensation Ricky Vaughn on the pitch now. You can close the book on Kellner.
Oh, thank God.
He's the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah, he is.
He really is.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
My friend, who I respect, says that line to this day.
Just a bit outside?
Just a bit outside. On anything. If you miss a question or something, it'll be just a bit outside. Tried the corner and missed. One of my favorite lines of all time. I always have remembered this line from Major League.
So the Tribe drops its third straight on this trip, 6-1 to the Rangers. For the Indians, one run on, one hit. That's all we got. One damn hit.
You can't say on the air.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
The great Bob Uecker. And I think he did this line where he was talking about, the pitcher. Was it Wild Thing? Vaughn was pitching, played by Charlie Sheen, a young Charlie Sheen who came in and was a bit wild.
Ball 4. Ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches. Boy, how can these guys lay off pitches that close?
So true. The great Bob Uecker. Is he best known for Major League, do you think? Or
I would say so.
To a younger audience, I guess. But, boy, he did everything. He was he made himself into television. And a great long life. Of course, lived to be.
Loved baseball. Was broadcasting Brewers games last season.
Still doing Brewers games, as a matter of fact. Isn't that crazy? I know. Officially lung cancer, but, good long life to age 90 for Bob Uecker. So great. And really made baseball fun. And he said in his Hall of Fame speech, all the things he had done, it was always baseball. That's what he loved most. He loved getting back to baseball.